Hey everyone, I'm about to talk to you guys about certain visions that the Lord has shown me in my dreams. One in particular I should have talked about a long time ago, not that long. It was 2 years ago, either in November or December. I'm pretty sure it was in December because that's when I uploaded my video on end times and seeing stuff. I choose not to say the word because the Lord has blessed me in a good way. And of course, I have gotten very strong in the word, but of course, we do sin. So, Lord, please forgive me for the sins I do commit, have committed, and will commit in the future. I'm pretty sure by me being a born-again Christian, you will wash and cleanse those sins away as long as I don't stray from your path and your word. But I had this dream that I thought that I said in that video, or at least gave you guys a detail about, but I didn't. So I'm going to tell you guys now. I'm actually going to do another video after this one. But with this dream in particular, like I said, it happened 2 years ago, but I think it's predicting what is actually happening right now. So this dream, me and my daughter, we went to a beauty supply store. And while we were in there, we was getting, products so I can do her hair, so I can ride her hair so she can have all these pretty curls. And while we're in there, we're standing in line. I'm about to pay for our items. And while I'm in line, I took $1 out, but my daughter tried to take it out of my hand. So the dollar ripped. And I'm mad at her, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, whatever, it's $1. I'm going to see if I can take it back. I bend down to pick up the ripped dollar. It's not ripped completely, but it is ripped. And I pick it up and I see like this shiny, like I'm trying to describe what it was. It was almost like a hologram type, like a plastic little plate, like probably like this thin inside the dollar. You know how a dollar bill looks, or any type of U.S. currency is very thin, but it was like a smaller little like plastic, like shiny hologram type thing in the paper. So I'm like, oh my God, I just ripped this, and this is how it looks when I flipped it over on I picked it up, but it was flipped on the back side of it, and it showed all that stuff. So I was like, okay, what is this? And I was happy because I like mysterious stuff and stuff that I have to think logically about and try to figure it out. I like mystery and puzzles and all that stuff. So I'm like, what is this? So I talked to the guy at the register. It was actually a man at the register. I think he was, he had dreads and all this stuff. And I'm asking him, I'm like, do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? And he knew what it was. He was telling me, he was like, it's a map. And he was like, I'm like, what is it a map about? And he didn't really get into detail. He was like, look at it. And he was just showing me. It was an actual map. When we flipped it back, I kid you not, this small dollar, you know how $1 US dollar bill look, I flipped it back over to the front side of it, and it turned into a big, gigantic map. A big map. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even describe some of the stuff that was on it. It almost looked like a treasure map, but it wasn't, but it looked like it. So me and him were looking at it and observing it. Like, I'm amazed because I'm all happy. I'm like, oh my God, look what I found. And he asked me, he actually tried to buy the dollar bill from me, and I'm like, no. I'm like, no. And then he was like, I'll give you $300, $400, $500 for it. I'm like, no. So I knew it was something valuable, something worth looking into, and I was like, no, I'll keep it. So instead of me walking out of the store trying to figure out what this dollar bill is about, that turned into a map, I'm actually still in the store looking at it, and like, he's over my shoulder, but a customer calls him, because at first it was just me and him in the store, and then somebody ended up coming in and calling him, so he didn't want to leave, but he had to, so he ended up walking off and leaving. I flipped the map back over to the back side of it, and it turned into like a 8x10 sheet of paper that had the zodiac signs on it, but it was in the shape of a clock. Like, of course, the 12 12, 6, 3, and 9. So I'm like, okay. Flip it back over, and it's the zodiacs, and it had, of course, all of the zodiacs on it. But on the short and on the long hand, it had lions on them at first. One was pointing straight up at 12, the other one was at the 6, and they both had lions on them. And around the clock, inside of the clock actually, and it actually, the map flipped over from like this and it was like this. And when it flipped over like that, it was almost like it was coming out of the pages. It was coming out of the zodiac clock. But inside the zodiac clock part were other lions. It was like full of lions surrounding the short hand and the long hand of this clock. But all of it, like I said, was zodiacs. When it went on the ram, it was a ram on the short hand on the 3. Actually, it was on the 1. I take it back. It was a ram on the 1, the Aries on the 1, and the what was it? And the lion on the 6. And I'm like, what the hell? And the ram turned around. The lion stood up, roaring, looking at the ram like it was gonna eat it. And then it went down some more to 3, and the ram on the 3, the ram, I looked up again, the ram was by itself, and the lion went away. And the lions that's within the clock was still roaring at the ram, but the ram was like standing up in triumph, like it won something, and it was real strong. And the clock moved again, but this time the short hand was on the 6, and the long hand was on the 12. And at this point, it's 2 lions on it, 2 lions on the clock, and they both was roaring at each other. But the lions on the outside, that's was inside of the clock, but they were not on it. They were basically on the outside. They were hollering and scratching and roaring at the other 2 that was on it. And they broke the short hand to the point they pulled the lion that was on the short hand off, and basically they was just scratching it up and basically devoured and ripped him up. The other one was still on it, on the long hand that was pointing to 12, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And all the lions was roaring at him, and he's scratching and roaring back at them to the point they pulled him off. And they scratched him off, and they completely broke the clock. But all the zodiacs, like all the zodiac signs, they were basically like live animals and live things on it. They were all moving around, but it's still lions within this clock. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it was really peculiar. I'll use that word. I don't want to say weird, because there's a lot of things about the spiritual world we really don't know about, but just looking at that and God giving me that dream, and that was the end of the dream. Actually, it was towards the end of the dream. So once that went away and they tore the other lion off, and it was just all lions just going crazy, and within this clock, within this zodiac clock, I turned it back to forward like this, and I promise you it turned right back into $1. The ripped dollar. So my daughter was like, Mom, so what you gonna do with it? And I was like, I'm not giving it to him. So me and my daughter was we walked around the beauty spot store, and that's when I woke up. Like, we walked within the beauty spot store because I was looking for the man to ask him more questions about the map, since he was trying to buy it from me. But I ended up waking up. I don't know what woke me up or what made me wake up, but I woke up and I was like, what is this? Like, I really want to know. So I don't know what you guys get out of that dream, or what you think it was trying to tell me. I would like to hear comments or what you guys think about what it was trying to tell me, but this is what I got out of it. Even now, just by looking up to date, now what's happening now. And this dream I had 2 years ago. I actually thought I put this video up, but I didn't. But that's how it is in full detail. What I got out of this was that it will be 2 people in power. One will rise and one will fall. But in this particular case, both of them fell. Or I looked at it like a monetary collapse, or like something bad. I know it's going to be something devastating, something bad. And I don't know if it has any, and I know time is short, by it showing me in a clock. That's what I took from it. Like, I know it's going to be bad times, whether it's a monetary issue or within political power. I know somebody got overturned, and basically the government, which is us, the people, we basically took over, or, you know, knocked that person off their pedestal. That's how I took it. So I don't know. Like, it's a lot to think about with that dream. Not just the time, the zodiac watch or clock, the actual the map. And I promise you, I wish I can go in a dream and take a picture of the map. The map was just so, it was like one of the most beautiful maps I've ever seen. It almost looked like the map was coming to life as I was looking at it. It was like one of those old maps, not the modern maps we have now with, you know, it's showing a globe and all that stuff. The old maps where it was showing like the little hills that was built into it, and, well, not built into it, but drawn into it, and, you know, it showed the leaves, the grass, the valleys, all that stuff. Like, that map looked just like that, and it was so beautiful. And what I want to say about that is, hopefully, who knows, maybe God is saying that like, of course this time is bad, but what can we do about it in this case? What I took from that dream is that, you know, maybe those people of high power, politically, they were overturned by us, because maybe we said we can't take this no more, and we basically took over ourselves. And it was still a riot at the end. Like, you know, once they drug both lions down, the other lions were still kind of going crazy within the clock. So who knows? Maybe that was a time showing us, you know, time is coming to a close by it being in a clock. So who knows? Y'all tell me, because that's what I took from it. And hopefully, you know, God showed me more dreams, and hopefully you guys like that, and let me know what you think. Bye.